There is one mistake that people are making when they do local SEO that is costing them thousands. And that mistake simply is lack of attribution. They'll see some rankings go up, maybe the traffic website went up, but they have no idea how much revenue their local SEO is actually generating. So today, I'm going to show you the exact system we use to track every single lead that comes from our local SEO system so that you can see if your investment is paying off or if you're just throwing money into a black hole. If you don't know who I am, my name is Munir Al-Safi. I have generated $12 million in revenue from my clients through local SEO and Google Ads. I share what I know to teach others, and hopefully we'll work together soon someday as well. So the main problem is that you can't improve what you don't measure. There's a saying that if you're not tracking, you're slacking. Local SEO can be one of the best investments a home service business can make, and we're talking about returns of 3, 5, even 8 times return on investment when it's done correctly. But the most common mistakes I see are, one, they just look at Google Analytics and they just see organic traffic go up, but they have no idea how many of the visitors turned into actual paying customers. And the mistake number 2 is they ask customers, how did you hear about us? And people say, I Googled you. But this is a problem if you're running Google Ads, because people usually don't know the difference between Google Ads or Google Business Profile. So sometimes it's hard to determine the return on each channel. So how do we fix this? The first step is to actually start tracking your phone calls. So this is huge for home service businesses because most of your leads probably come through phone calls. And what you need to do is you need to use a call tracking system. So we use Go High Level for our clients, but there are other options like CallRail or call tracking metrics. And this is basically how it works. So we're going to place different phone numbers for different sources of how a lead can find you. So what that means is there's going to be a specific number that's only visible on your Google Business Profile or your Google Maps. And then now you know whenever someone calls this phone number, you know where they came from. If you're running Google Ads, sometimes there are Google Business Profile ads. So there is only a specific number for that one. There's also the Google Ad Click to Call, which is another Google Ad one. And then there's a website or landing page. So this system is usually a system called Dynamic Phone Tracking System. So there's around 4+ phone numbers and any one of them could appear on the website. And the website knows that if you called this number 0004 at a certain time, it knows where you came from. So it'll attribute you to Google Ads, for example. But maybe at the same time, it's showing 0005 to someone who came from Google Organic or SEO. So it'll label that phone call as SEO. So all of these phone numbers forward to your main line. And then even these tools are usually able to generate a call recording, a transcription, and record the call source, which is the most important thing. So having this data is super important because if you don't have phone numbers that track where the lead came from, you're basically flying blind. You could run marketing for 6 months and not know where the majority of your calls came from, which is a problem because the whole point is you want to reinvest the profit into the marketing channel that brought in the most leads. You want to keep increasing the budget so that you get more leads from that specific channel. By the way, if this interests you, you can book a call with my team with the first link in the description. If you want to become our next case study, you'll be working with me and my team to run a profitable local SEO campaign. The second step is you want to track your form submissions. So phone calls are covered, but there's a lot of people who fill out the form on the website. The easiest way if you're not running Google Ads is to ask a question saying, how did you hear about us? I know I mentioned it's a mistake, but I'm going to address it in a few minutes. So you can give them options like Google Search, Google Maps, Facebook Referral, and so on and so forth. And it's straightforward and it'll get you like 80% there. But it does rely on people remembering and being honest. And most people don't know the difference between Google and Google Ads, which is a problem I mentioned above. So if you are working alone or you're doing it by yourself, adding this is usually better than nothing. The second method is to do an automated way. So we've developed a tracking system that automatically captures where the leads came from and then embeds that data right into the submission. So how it works is that when someone lands on your website from Google, we capture that data using cookies and then session tracking. And then when someone fills out the form, whether it's today or 3 weeks from now, that data is passed into the form so we know whether they came from organic search or from Google Ads. And this is typically what it looks like. So you see here, these are the different form submissions. We see B, Megan, Caleb, so on and so forth. And these are the personal details that they filled into the form. And then here we have lead source. So it says here Google Ads, Google Organic, Direct. So I know with 100% certainty that this lead came from Google Ads because the cookies tracked it. When they landed on the page knows where they came from, and then that's saved into the browser as they click around up until they fill in the form. And then now I know with 100% certainty that this lead came from Google Ads. So if I spent $2,000 on Google Ads, now I know what that $2,000 actually brought me. Now, for full transparency, this system is currently available only for clients who work with us, but the principle is the same. You need to somehow connect your form data with your traffic source data. And if you're working with some developer, you can usually ask them to develop this for you. So now you know all the phone calls, now you know all the form submissions, you know where they came from. The last step is you actually need to create your own spreadsheet that lists all these leads and then lists as well if you generated any revenue from them. So the sample sheet could look like date, you write in the lead source. This is optional if you want to record the type or where they came from, the customer name, status, and then you want to include the close date and the revenue. So not every lead is going to close, but what you want to do is you want to track the revenue for each lead. So that way you can easily say, yeah, in 2024 from Google Ads, I spent $20,000, but that helped me generate $150,000 using this sheet. Or the other way around, I spent $20,000 on local SEO and I generated me $300,000 in revenue because of that spreadsheet. But if you don't have that data, you can't make that conclusion. So this sheet allows you to ask yourself very important questions like how many leads came from Google Business Profile, which ones turned into an actual customer, how many came from the website traffic, and how many actually converted. Is there a conversion problem? And how much revenue did each customer generate? Answering these questions will make you a much better business owner and will know where to spend your next dollar. So here is an example. So let's say you invested $1,500 per month in local SEO, and that's around $18,000 per year. That can include backlinks, writing content, whatever. Even if you're doing the SEO by yourself, you will need to spend money. So let's say over the whole year, you generated 83 total leads, 45 came from Google Business Profile, and 38 came from just the organic website traffic. Out of the 83, 24 turned into paying customers with an average job value of $5K, and that's $120,000 generated in revenue. So that means that you generated in that year 6.6 return in that first year. And SEO is actually supposed to get better the more you do it. But if you never had this data to begin with, you would have never known that SEO was a profitable channel for you. And maybe you should actually double down on it. Doubling down can mean creating a new website for a new area, creating a new Google Business Profile for a new area. It could be anything. So the long-term picture is that these numbers typically double or triple because your rankings get stronger, you have more content indexed, and you have more reviews in your Google Maps or Google Business Profile. We've seen clients hit 10 to 15 times ROI by year 2 when they stick with it and when they do it right. And you can see all these case studies here. For example, Capital Homes got a 30 times return from SEO in just 5 months, which is pretty ridiculous. So here are the other common mistakes to avoid. You want to avoid judging too soon. So SEO takes minimum 3 to 6 months to just kick in, and that's so you can start seeing some of the results, but you're not going to get the full fruit up until usually like at least a year later. But a lot of people pull the plug after 60 days just because they're not seeing massive results yet. They're expecting SEO to kind of like save their business. SEO is best when it's in addition to whatever you're already doing. Mistake number 2 is only tracking rankings. So rankings can sometimes be a vanity metric. It's usually a leading indicator that you will get more leads, but you should be tracking the leads you get from SEO as well. It's really good if you rank number 1 for a plumber near me, but you need to know how many leads you're getting from that specifically. And then the mistake number 3 that we see with a lot of clients and just business owners in general is that they're not following up on their leads. You could be getting a ton of leads from SEO, but if your follow-up sucks, if you're not answering the phone correctly, if you're not handling the call correctly, you will think that SEO is not working. So you need to make sure you respond quickly and professionally to every single inquiry. Your lead generation won't do well if your sales is also not good. So hope you enjoyed that quick video. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys later.